do this. We good? We good? All right. All right. I got my notes. Kinda. I got you. Galactus is on. Start recording. What's up? And welcome to Big Kid with Will Bryant, the show that does some shit I don't even know what anymore. I'm your host, though. I am still Will Bryant. We're back. It's funny, I guess. I'm having a pretty good day. You know what it is? I don't have work, and that's always a plus. That's always a plus. I was just texting with Cole right before this, and he's kind of the person I reach out to every now and then when I'm sweating out some type of bet and wondering if I should cash out or not. I'm not a huge bettor in the sense that I don't bet like a ton of money, but I guess I'm a big bettor in the sense that I do it often. I don't know. You decide how to define what a big bettor is. I like to bet, so I do it often, but I don't bet tons of dinero, probably because I don't have tons of dinero. And for those that don't speak Spanish, that means moolah. What language is moolah? Is that even a language? Anyways, I hit him up every now and then. Usually to ask if I should cash out, then I don't cash out, then I lose the bet and I realize, I should have cashed out. I've become so bad at betting that a lot of times, depending on the bet you make, if you bet like $20 on some type of game or parlay, the moment you place your bet, it offers you a cash out. Sometimes for the exact amount you bet, but oftentimes, if you put down like a $20 bet, FanDuel will then immediately offer you your money back, but not all of it. They'll be like, hey, you can cash out right now for $18.48. And dude, I've gotten so bad at betting that I will put down that $20 bet, and then FanDuel will be like, hey, you could cash out right now for $18.48. And I always look at that option and think to myself, that's a pretty good deal. That's better than I probably would have done if I just let this play out and watch the game. So when I bet $20 and then immediately cash out for $18.48, I come home and I say, baby, I won $18. We're rich. What was in your cart? Click order. As long as it's not more than $18.48 after shipping. Oh, it's on Prime? Psh. Splurge. I bring this up because today I won one, finally. Now I win every now and then, but the thing is I won right before I started recording. And it makes... If you guys like that disgruntledness, that I'm sorry, I'm quite gruntled today. I'm quite gruntled because, like I said, I had no work, and that makes that makes this a good day. You know, every time that I feel like I'm having a good day, I hear Ice Cube's head. I was about to say I hear Ice Cube's head in my voice. I hear Ice Cube's voice in my head. First of all, I hear that beat in the background. I know Val thinks I'm terrible at like mimicking music, and I'm starting to maybe believe her, except for the fact that everything in my head sounds impeccable all the time. All the time. Let's see. I want to look up Ice Cube right now. And there's some fucking... I didn't know there's an intro to It Was a Good Day by Ice Cube. There you go. So every time that I am having a good day, I kind of hear in the back of my head, followed by Ice Cube just going, "Today was a good day." Also, you know what bothers me about this song? Only one thing about this song bothers me. Who ever dropped a triple-double in a pickup basketball game? Don't we normally play to like 21, 11 if it's like with a bunch of old people? Which I realize I now categorize as one of these old people. But triple-double. You're playing to 21. How are you having that many rebounds and assists? And then points? Is that actually mathematically possible? I probably. But still. I hear this in the back of my head all the time when I have a good day. Yeah. So, I'm pretty gruntled today. Not that pissed. In fact, first of all, I'm here drinking this PBR. Not Rolls and Rock, but PBR. And to get in the mood a little bit, I did take a shot of Mr. Cuervo over here. Jose Cuervo. But don't worry, I'm keeping it classy because it's the Especial. I have no idea what that means. It probably doesn't mean anything. They're all Especial. Pouring up a shot right here. Because today was a good day. So I had a good weekend. You know what it is? I worked Friday, Saturday. So how good of a weekend could I have? But I did have off Sunday. Sunday, He is risen. The Lord is risen. It was Easter. It was Easter, guys. I don't know about you, but something about doing absolutely nothing religious on Easter makes me feel like I'm growing up. Because do you remember Easter when we were younger? Now, obviously, if you didn't grow up Christian or Catholic or whatever, then, you know, this probably not that big a deal for you. But you're talking to someone that went to Catholic school from preschool to 12th grade. Dude, I was an altar server for like 6 years. That doesn't sound right. Maybe like 4 years? I don't know. I served the altar. Preschool. Went to St. Joan of Arc in Jackson Heights. Where, by the way, had I continued going to that school, I would have gone to the same school as some of my best friends since kindergarten, instead of meeting them in high school and then continuing to know them throughout college and now. But I digress. Religious. I guess I was kind of. it's weird because like I look back at it now. My mom, she's not going to church at all right now. But when I was younger, she was taking me to church all the time. And I'm wondering like, what was that? Was that all an act? Were you going because your mom made you go? And you started making me go? Shit, she put me... I feel bad. She spent mad money putting me through Catholic school her whole life just for me to end up pretty freaking atheist. And here's the thing. It's not like I ended up atheist and she's still going to church every Sunday. She don't go to no church. By the way, I wouldn't be saying this if my mom was a devout podcast listener. But I'll until the day I teach her how to download podcasts, I will keep speaking this slander. It's not slander if it's true, right? Dude, I went to Catholic school my whole life. And Easter, like weekend, that was like a Catholic family's Super Bowl weekend right there. That was what you trained for all season long. There's something called A&P Catholics. Those are the Catholics that only go to church twice a year. I used to be the type of church-going Catholic that would scoff and laugh at the A&P Catholics. An A&P Catholic was a Catholic person that only went to church on Ash Wednesday and Palm Sunday. Hence the A and the P. Why those two became like the freaking biggest days in the Catholic year, I have no idea. You would think it would be like Easter and Christmas, but no. It's I feel like there's something about the fact that who went to church on Ash Wednesday. They got the goddamn shit. Well, what a way to describe it. They got the goddamn shit on their head, dudes. When someone went to church on Ash Wednesday. They have proof of it. They have proof of it on their forehead, bro. It's like the end of Inglourious Bastards when they just carved the the swastika into the dude's forehead. You have proof that you went to church. You have proof that you're a good Catholic on that day. And on Palm Sunday, you can walk away with your little tree, your little fucking leaves, and you make there's a little mini competition inside the church on Palm Sunday. You look around like, oh, his cross is dope. Oh, his cross, he used like 4 palm trees to make his cross. His is nice and compact. That shit would survive a storm. Then you look over to someone they don't just have a palm tree cross, they have a palm tree Jesus, and somehow he's bleeding palm tree green. Like people, not only is it good enough to go to church on Palm Sunday, it's within the church on Palm Sunday. People have arts and crafts competitions to see who has the best palm cross and Jesus. I love the people that just don't even try. They're there on Palm Sunday and they just hold the 2 palms and they just like wave it around like this is good enough, right? For me, Palm Sunday used to be the least boring church day of all because I used to I had something to play with. I had the palms to play with. A&P Catholics. I think that's the reason everyone goes to those is because there's proof that you were there. If it's Easter Sunday and you run into the Johnsons at brunch, and you're with your family and they're with their family, and these dumb fucking shit Johnsons come over to you like, hey there. Well, how are you guys doing? Happy Easter, guys. He is risen. The Lord is risen. Bless you all on this fine Easter Sunday. Oh, we just came from church and came over here to enjoy a nice Easter brunch. What are you guys doing today? Oh, well, Bob, we're doing the same. By the way, how's that McFinnigan account going over there at Johnson McDougal and McFeisters? You know, We'll discuss it over a solid round of 18 next time. Just gotta get my Vineyard Vine sweater back from the dry cleaners. But how about you? Oh, we went to church as well on this fine Easter Sunday. And the Johnsons are going to look at you up and down, and there's no proof that you didn't go to church. But imagine that on Easter Sunday, the priest, after putting his cigarette out, put his thumb in the freaking ash and went up to every single person and was like, come here. Puts that shit on your forehead. He's like, all right, now go to IHOP. Do you know how many people would be shunned from diners across all conservative lands if they showed up for brunch on Easter Sunday? They didn't have a black cross on their forehead. IHOP employees nationwide, or internationally wide, since it is the International House of Pancakes, allegedly, they would be grabbing soot from their stoves and putting it on every single employee just so that people would allow them to feed them. That's what it is. There's proof of Ash Wednesday and Palm Sunday. There's proof that you went, so everyone has to go on those days. They have to. What did I do this Easter? I went to Williamsburg and got drunk at like 4 different bars with my girl, and we ate a lot, drank a lot, and didn't go to church a single fucking time. Not a single goddamn time. Even though my mom paid for 13 years of Catholic school, even though I was an altar server, and even though not only was I an altar server, I eventually became the head altar server, or as the priest in charge of us called it, the head MC of the altar servers. That's when I learned what MC stood for. My dumbass kept hearing it in rap songs. And once not Googled, but I probably Yahoo'd it back then. You know what? Honestly, I'm so old that I probably asked Jeeves for lyrics on a hip hop song, and the word MC was in there. And y'all know that the hip hop way that they spell MC is EMCEE, which is just blatantly wrong. And I learned it once I became an MC, not a rapper, by the way. Once I became an MC via altar serving versus via serving the altar. MC is the actual word. I mean letters. M.C. And no, if you watch Sons of Anarchy, it does not mean motorcycle club. An MC is a master of ceremony. So when rappers are referring to themselves as MCs or are referred to as an MC, it simply means that they are a master of the ceremony. In a way, rapping is the mastering, and the ceremony is everyone gathering to listen. When I was like 12, 13 years old and was told that I was going to be the head MC, I didn't care if the following sentence was like of the Nerd Society of America, which essentially I was. I was the head MC of the altar servers for St. Michael the Archangel Catholic parish in Flushing, Queens. But I thought I had the coolest fucking job title in the world. Job title. I didn't get paid a single thing. Also, the reason that I was named the head MC. I'm gonna need a shot to tell this story. I'm sorry. I already poured it a while ago. Here we go. I learned that sexism was real, alive, and well at a very early age. See, I actually had a very good relationship with the priest in charge of the altar servers. I was an altar server for a number of years. I think I joined when I was in 5th grade, which I think was the youngest you might have been able to join. Maybe even younger. I don't know. Now look, I realize me saying how young I was trying to join the altar servers, a Roman Catholic group. I know what's going on. I know the stigma tied to it. And trust me, it came up. Because I actually was really cool with the priest that was in charge of running the altar servers. In case anyone's confused, an altar server in the Catholic religion, those are those young kids that are up in front of the church with the priest, helping him and assisting him throughout the mass. You know, and you might have seen them in TV or film or whatever. They're the young kids that are like usually holding something up for the priest or something like that. Like they're legitimately during mass, during our weekly religious celebration, young people assist the priest, which is like the equivalent of I guess like the rabbi of the I wish I knew other versions of other religions of their priests, but I don't. So we have kids help us out during our weekly religious ceremonies. It's just the way it goes. I was one of those kids. It's funny, I actually looked at it. My mom was forcing me to go to church every Sunday no matter what. And I was getting really bored just sitting in like the pews, the benches, whatever. I kind of felt like a B Squad worshiper, you know? Chanel, you know? And I kept seeing like the people on I guess my egotistical ass was like, they're on stage and I'm not. They're on the altar. And I was like, I would rather be up there than over here. And I saw it as like a loophole. I joined the altar servers to not be so fucking bored during mass. And that's the only reason why I was up there. And I was less bored during mass. Mass went by quicker when I had shit to do and stuff to remember. And it was actually making me somehow like a more, I don't want to say more devout Catholic, but I knew more shit. Suddenly I was explaining shit to my mom about mass. Like, oh, this is when you do this, and I do that because of this, and blah, 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 and whatever. I thought it was making me a better Christian almost in a way. And suddenly my mom had an actual reason to go to church. And I'm not saying that I'm a better reason than God to go to church. I'm just being honest. My mom didn't really want to go to church in the first place. How do I know? Because my mom didn't go to church on Sunday. She didn't go to church last Sunday. She didn't go to church the Sunday before that. She hasn't gone to church in years. She was going because she had a young kid that she was trying to set an example for, and realized that. But suddenly, her son was the starting point guard for St. Michael the Archangel's Sunday masses, week in and week out. At first, I was just in there, just serving mass. Then I became the head MC. She was like, he's the captain. Look, if you didn't remember the episodes before, I've played sports my whole life, but I sucked at them. Maybe I only talked about football, but I've played baseball. I've played basketball. I played soccer. any team that required a fee to join, I made it because my mom would write that check. If there was a tryout to make the team, I always counted how many kids were at the tryout and how many roster spots there were. Because if there was if I just had to beat out 2 or 3 kids, I usually maybe could do that. Anything more than that, that's asking a lot. That's asking a lot. I can usually beat out 1. If there's 25 spots on a team and there's 26 of us on the field, I think I can beat 1 person. And that's usually only because there's always a kid there by mistake that actually, should have been in the 12 and under league and doesn't realize he's with the 14-year-olds. I sucked at sports, dude. The only thing my mom could visit me, perform and be proud of was altar serving. She never saw me hit no game-winning shots in basketball. Hell, my mom would come to a game and she would see other parents cheer when their son hit a 3, cheer when their son made a big block. You know when my mom would cheer? If I got subbed into the game. If the whistle blew and I finally got to take off those awesome fucking Adidas snap-off button-up pants that my mom bought for me, if I got to snap those off and walk into the game, that's when my mom cheered. Because she knew there wasn't going to be any other opportunity to cheer for her son later on in that game. For the next 2 minutes that her son would play in that game, I would do nothing that would let her cheer. Football, pretty much the same. There was 2 times my mother cheered for me in the middle of a game. One was because I woke up from fucking thinking that I was knocked out unconscious. I got my shit rocked, as I explained to you in one episode before. Was sent flying back. My mom got scared. Why does that sound like I'm about to sing the opening to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? My mom got scared. She was just my uncle come here. I got rocked in a football game. My mom got scared. Then I woke up and she was like, "Yay, Billy! You're alive!" The other time she cheered, I actually did do something good. We were up. My team was up for the first time all season by a decent amount, and they put me in on special teams. Actually, it wasn't special teams. It was a kick return. I had always been in on kick return. But I had never been in on an onside kick return. And I don't think our coaches were even paying enough attention to realize that the other team was doing an onside kick. So the entire team, my entire team was kind of just scrambling to line up anywhere that wouldn't get us a penalty. And somehow I ended up on the front, the first line. Because when you line up onside, there's a front line and a back line, and that's kind of it. As opposed to a regular kickoff where there's multiple lines of defense or offense or whatever. Not offense, but blockers and kickers, whatever. Or blockers for the runner. Anyways, I realized immediately that I'm lined up kind of exactly where this ball should go. And I remember thinking immediately, because I will remind you guys, at this point I'm about 200 pounds, 5'6", 5'7", 200 pounds. So I've never been tall, so I'm still short, but I was at that point of a fat, overweight, unathletic piece of shit. And I was lined up offside or for the onside kick. in perfect position for this kicker to kick it right to me. And I'm probably the last person that should be receiving or touching a football at any moment. And I looked around and I was like, wow, this is really happening. No one is like coming to like replace me. No one. I should not be lined up there. And then the whistle blows and the play starts. I'm like, holy shit, this is happening. All right. And the kicker kicks it directly towards me because there was an athletic person to my left and an athletic person to my right. And beyond a shadow of a doubt, that kicker looked right between those two athletic kids and said, there's a fat fuck. There's a fat lineman. For some reason, he's standing right there. I'm kicking this ball right to him. And he kicks that ball. It dribbles across the ground. And it comes right into my chest. And I do nothing but grab it and fall to the ground. And then the entire world starts fucking just falling on top of me as players from both teams just pile up on top of me. And they all come off one by one. And I am pulled up off of the ground holding the ball. And I recovered the onside kick. That's the greatest athletic highlight of my entire life. Was falling on top of a ball and not fucking it up. My parents went crazy. You would have thought that I just hit a grand slam in the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs, down 3 runs. But we were up by like 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and all I did was grab a ball and fall on it and not let it go. Here's the thing. They got the chance to kick off once again in the fourth quarter, and they sent me out once again. And I felt like hot shit, bro. I said, I found my calling. I am an amazing onside kick returner. Not even returner, just grabber. Because I didn't return anything. I just grabbed the ball and didn't lose it. And I said, this is what I wasn't good at blocking. I wasn't good at tackling. I wasn't good at running. I wasn't good at catching. I wasn't good at throwing. I basically wasn't good on football, at football. But I was on this football team. And I finally did something right. And I said, all right, you know what? I found my calling. So I lined up in the same exact spot. And I stared that kicker right the fuck down. And I was like, you know what? Last time I was nervous. This time, I'm ready. I plant my feet in that shitty grass. I look this kicker up and down, stare into his eyes, and I'm ready. And right before this kicker takes off to kick right in my direction, right before the play starts, I just feel a solid thud on my shoulder pad. Kind of like this. Little double tap. I turn around and it's the captain. Perhaps the most athletic person on the team. Rocco. His name was Rocco. The captain of my football team, his name was Rocco. Double taps my shoulder. I turn around. I stare Rocco right in the eyes. He looks back at me with all the love in the world. Looks right at his fat lineman and he says, "Not this time, big boy." And fucking points with his thumb to the back. I couldn't be further away from the important part of the field. And I knew he was right. He was right. Rocco was always right. Rocco is a professional MMA fighter now. And I record a podcast where I talk about how my greatest athletic moment in life was a mistake that was fixed by Rocco. This is why. You see, some people are meant to... I told you, football is where I learned that people are just built different. Me? I'm built for this, for just talking. Rocco? He's built for a lot more. Let me just say that. A lot more. He could probably talk his ass off too. Yeah, he probably... You know what? I'm podcasting right now. Part of me... I'm looking over my shoulder because at any moment, Rocco could come up right behind me and tap me on my shoulder. Just fucking... And I turn around and Rocco's going to look at me. He's like, not this time, baby boy. And I'll be like, God damn it. He's still tapping me out. And then, of course, the ball went right to him and he grabbed it and made it look better and more effortless than I could have ever done it. And I was reminded why I'm not an athlete and why I never played football again after that season. It's all good, though. It's all good. That's why my mom was so excited for church on Sundays. Ha! See how I brought that back? I know you guys are wondering where the fuck that came from. Anyways, my mom used to come to church. She knew that her son wasn't a football player, wasn't a basketball player, wasn't a baseball player. But you know what her son could be? She thought her son could be an altar server. I was serving the Lord. Serving the Lord. And I was actually kind of cool with my priest. Like, he was this Puerto Rican dude named Father Michael. I don't want to put his last name out there because, like, it's weird. Like, I used to, I was an altar server. I was like the head altar server of my church at exactly the time that the Catholic Church was going through all of the controversy with pedophilia and priests getting, instead of punished, just moved around from church to church. And there's a lot of cover-ups going on in the Catholic Church. And I happen to be the quote-unquote head MC. Oh, before I even get into that, I forgot that I told y'all that this is when I learned about sexism. I'll tell y'all that in just a second. Y'all know the drill. I don't like editing videos that much, so I'm going to the bathroom and I'll be right back. what's up, video crowd? About to pour another shot. Bomb! Let's get back to it, huh? How about that? Let's get back to it, how about that? Let's get back to it, how about that? I try to do this show like one shot, no getting up, no pauses, but sometimes when I drink, the dude's just gotta go to the bathroom, you know what I mean? Ah, damn it, I did it again. I did the thing where I go to the bathroom and I forgot to put the mic on my person. I'm not talking about the mic for podcast, I'm talking about the mic for video. Damn it, did it again. Anyways, here we go, we're back and better than ever. As I was talking about before, don't act like I forgot. Basically just been talking about being a good old religious kid. Because the Lord is risen. And I know that a long time ago in this episode, I mentioned that I learned about sexism at an early age thanks to my priest. This priest that I said I was actually really cool with. He's someone I confided in at a young age. You know, I had a good relationship with him, and I was mentioning or talking about before how this was all happening at the time, at the height of the controversy surrounding the Catholic Church. For sure, there was shady and terrible shit going on worldwide with the Catholic Church at the time. And with just in terms of just pedophilia and just inappropriate sexual shit, literally worldwide. And instead of priests getting in trouble for abusing and molesting these, whether they were altar servers or parishioners of the church in general, no one was getting in trouble. They were all just getting shuffled from church to church instead of being persecuted and prosecuted. I say all this because while this is at its fucking peak, I happen to be the head MC, the head master of ceremony for altar servers at my Catholic church in Flushing, Queens. And all of my friends would always ask me, because not only am I the head MC, I'm also like hanging outside of church, hanging out with the priest in charge of the altar service. Like he would literally take me like we'd go out to this sounds so weird, but he would literally take me out to dinner, like every now and then. No drinks, just dinner. He was this Puerto Rican priest that was like, he knew that like I had a stepdad, but he also I was also very open with the fact that like I grew up without a dad, and like we would just, it wasn't like he was trying to be a dad, but he was just trying to be a like, I guess, father figure, or at least a paternal advice type of figure, because I think he knew I wasn't really getting that. Like, even though I had a stepdad growing up, like anyone that knows my dad knows he's a great guy. He's a gentle soul, but he's probably not providing me with a ton of like guidance and wisdom. If anything, he's just standing back and letting me live, you know? Which to a certain extent I love too. But I think my priest saw a young me and was like, this motherfucker needs someone to tell him something. And my mom was trying, I guess. I don't really remember him giving me a lot of discipline or guide. I mean, he would definitely be. He knew I was a wise ass. He was quick to call me out on it. He's a good dude. And of course, being surrounded with a bunch of kids my age, 12 and 13, during the height of the controversy in the Catholic religion, the only thing everyone ever asked me about being the head MC and having a relationship, a friendship with a priest, was if I was being molested, if I was being, touched and whatnot. I was asked that a lot, not just by my friends. I was at one point questioned by at least 2 different teachers. And looking back at it, it didn't feel like an investigation. It felt like fucking teachers just wondering, like gossip almost. But maybe they were doing their job too, but I remember feeling really bad for Father Michael because I said it back then when I was 12 and 13, and I'll say it again as the youngest 35-year-old in the world. Father Michael was nothing but an incredible influence in my life. Period. Here's when the questions really started kicking up. Is Father Michael left the priesthood. He left. Oops, hold up. Sexism. How did Father Michael teach me that sexism was real? All right, I said Father Michael knew me. Me and him were cool. He came to my, when I was confirmed, and for people that aren't Catholic, confirmation is one of the people get baptized, people have their first communion. Technically, marriage it's a sacrament. Marriage is a sacrament. There's I believe 7 sacraments, but you don't have to have all of them, but there are 7 sacraments, and your confirmation is the one you go through when you're a young teen, 12, 13. And that's the one where you kind of choose who your godfather is or something. You call it your sponsor, and my sponsor was my cousin, but you also choose your confirmation name, and I chose Michael as my confirmation name for 2 reasons. I chose it because I went to St. Michael the Archangel, and because I had a very close relationship with my priest, Father Michael. And Father Michael came to my family dinner where we celebrated my confirmation name. That's how close I was to this dude. He knew my family. He was friends with, not friends, well, he was friends with my mom and dad at least. But he knew my family. He came to our family events. So yeah, I had a relationship with this dude. I was friends with him. So let's take this shot. So it hurt when Father Michael was transferred out of St. Michael the Archangel parish. He was transferred somewhere else. And I didn't see him as often. And everyone was questioning me because they thought he got transferred for what unfortunately was the obvious reasons at the time. They thought for sure they transferred him because something inappropriate came up in my parish. And the person I felt was questioned the most was me. Everyone thought I was questioned by police. I'm like, no, the police never fucking questioned me. Nothing happened. Honestly, it would probably explain a lot if something did happen. If I told you, yeah, I was the head altar server of St. Michael the Archangel parish, and the priest in charge molested me, all of my friends would suddenly be like, oh, that's why. God, we just thought you were really messed up for no reason. Sorry, it's still for no reason. I had a good mom. I didn't have a dad, but I had a really good stepdad really early on. Like 6th man of the year type status. Maybe not a starter, but best guy, best man off the bench. So, as far as I'm concerned, great mom, great dad, awesome family, not molested by a priest, still turned out this way. There's really no explanation. There's none. I know, I keep saying he taught me about sexism and I don't tell you why. I promise, I will tell you why this taught me about sexism. I had one bullet point that I have discussed so far, and that bullet point is Happy Easter. I thought I was going to have nothing to talk about this week because I had a good Easter. I haven't even gotten to my second bullet point yet. Religion, baby. Woo! You know what? I was raised Catholic, which means that there's a huge amount of just Catholic shit to talk about buried deep in this soul. Anyways, people thought that he left or that he was transferred because of some terrible shit, and they of course thought that it had to do with me. I'm telling you, I was questioned by kids and adults alike. No cops though, no cops. And then about a year later, we heard through the grapevine, through the religious grapevine, that Father Michael was leaving the priesthood. That's when everyone, dude, my best friends, at the time, looked at me and were like, all right, bro, we know you've said that he didn't do anything to you, but now he's not even going to be a priest anymore. He's giving up. He's leaving. Can you at least fess up now? And I'm like, no, it didn't happen. It didn't happen, dude. He's just a good dude. He's a good dude. In fact, he told me, he used to curse at me in Spanish and English, actually. But he cursed so much in private that he came up with his own Spanish curse word. And he called it con careta. Con careta. I would get him to say it to me all the time because I would do things that would piss him off all the time. And he'd be like, con careta. And he would do this thing where he had this brolic ass religious ring, and he would turn it so that the brolic side is no longer on the outside of the back of his hand, but now on the inside of his palm. And he would do that so that he could hit you with his broad side of the ring while he... Now I say that only because he would only threaten the kids with it. He never actually did it to anyone. Except he did do it to me one time. But I was literally asked him for it because he threatened me with it, and I called him out on it. And I was like, you would never hit any of us with that. And he was like, oh, really? And I was like, you would never hit. And then I caught myself, and we were a bunch of the kids or whatever, and I was like, no, you would never hit any of them with that. And he was like, oh, you're amending your statement. And I looked at him and I was like, yeah, because I could see you hitting me with that for sure. And he was like, oh yeah, you no problem. And I was like, whoa, why me no problem? And he said straight up, he's like, because your mom would never get mad at me for hitting you with this. At that point, it became a challenge. You wouldn't even hit me with that. Nah, I just pressed fucking space on this and stopped recording. It's all good because you guys are just on video, and these guys I can record for real, and let's go. I said, you wouldn't even hit me with that. And he was like, no, I would totally hit you with that. And, fast forward a couple of minutes, and he flipped his shit around, and I turned around and I asked for it. He hit me with that. He hit me pretty good. How did Father Michael teach me about sexism? It all comes back to the day I was named the Head MC, the #1 MC, Master of Ceremony for St. Michael's. I was never a bad kid, but I was the guy you see now. That's pretty much what you get. Like I think I'm a little laid back. I don't know if I care. Perhaps I don't care enough about things. I was the kid that I could get an 85 on everything without trying. And I knew that I could get a 95 on things with trying. I proved it to myself often enough. I just didn't want to. I was fine with the 85 without trying. I was fine with it. In college, that became more of like an 80 to 82. In some classes, solid 85 to 90. But like still not that, the trying was like whatever. The going to class, that's another thing. I was the smart slacker that did well without trying. And I was like in the same circles as some, at least in elementary school and grammar school. I was in the same circles as the smart kids, and the smart kids were really trying. I was the one that always tried the least, and it was still in the same circle as them. And I remember there was an altar server named Christina, who was one of these like 95 students who tried her fucking ass off. And of course, she's the type that went on to do amazing in high school and amazing in college because she tried her ass off. She put the work in. She knew all the prayers inside and out. She knew every minute of every mass. She knew what you were supposed to do at every moment, whether it was a wedding, a funeral, a confirmation, whether it was the morning mass, the night mass, whether it was a weekday or a Sunday afternoon. She knew the ins and outs of everything. And me, I knew most of it, but like not like her. In fact, I had no problem always relying on her. And it comes to the day that Father Michael's going to name the new #1 and #2 MCs of the altar service. And I swear to God, the theme of this episode apparently, that is what he called it. #1 and #2. Straight up. And I knew that Christina was going to be #1 and I would be her #2, and I was totally cool with it in my head already because I was like, wow, she's going to have to do all the work and I just do like whatever and get like some of the credit. And Father Michael comes up to me and he goes, hey, come here. He pulls me off to the side. Our meetings, by the way, our altar server meetings were in church. So we were literally, he pulls me off to the side on the altar and like dead Jesus is on a cross, like literally staring at us with his dead tilted head, just staring right at us while we have this like Sopranos-like conversation to the side. And Father fucking Michael, Father Michael Soprano, pulls me over to the side and he goes, hey, listen here, Billy. We know, between you and I, we both know. Christina, she knows her shit. And I'm looking right at Father Michael. I'm like, yeah. Obviously. She studies. I don't fucking study shit. He's like, yeah. But I don't think that everyone's going to listen to her as much as they're going to listen to you. And I was like, what do you mean? And Father Michael Soprano says, I don't think that all these kids are going to listen to a woman as much as they'll listen to you, to a quote-unquote man. And immediately two things went racing through my mind. I promise you, at the age of 12, because remember, my birthday is on Christmas, so I have a late birthday. At the age of 12, I thought two things. One, well, this is fucked up for Christina. But the second thing that went racing through my head was, holy shit, I'm about to be the head MC. I'm about to be in charge. I couldn't believe it. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that I did not deserve to be the head of the altar servers. And I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that the reason that I was getting named the head MC of the altar servers was completely fucking wrong. And you know what? I would like to believe, as I pour this shot of tequila out, I would like to believe that if 12-year-old Will had the wisdom and the morals of the youngest 35-year-old in the world, Will, I would like to think that kid would look at Father Michael and say, you know what? I appreciate the opportunity, but I think the kids will listen to Christina, because the kids will realize what I realize, and that's that there is nobody else in this entire parish that deserves to be the head MC more than Christina. I would like to think that if I had the knowledge I do now as a child back then, I would like to think that that's what I would say, but who knows, man? Because even though being the head MC of St. Michael the Archangel Parish in Flushing, Queens, New York seems like the most nominal job title in the world, at that time, it was kind of cool. I was never the captain of the football team. Well, I didn't even play football at that time. But I was definitely never the captain of the baseball team, the basketball team, the soccer team. Suddenly I was in charge. I was in charge for a whole year. And I knew beyond the shadow of a doubt that I shouldn't have been. Thing is, I never kept that a secret from Christina. I was actually very honest with Christina. I told her to her face that she should have been number one. And she told me to my face that she knew. And you know what was the weirdest thing of all is that she was actually completely fucking fine with it and was an amazing quote-unquote number two. She was an amazing assistant to the regional manager. She was an amazing Dwight Schrute. I don't know how to call it. She should have been more pissed off about it than she was. I bet looking back at it now, she looks at it and just thinks of it as just another moment of sexism in a life full of it. And perhaps it's a commentary on the time that instead of being upset by it, she handled it amazingly. Maybe, unfortunately, not only was she expecting it, but she was also used to it. It's something I think about a lot. That like a moment that I thought was like this dope moment in my life at the time was always marred in this negativity that I knew. Like I knew I did not deserve to be the head MC for altar service. Dude, I barely believed in the religion at the time. Meanwhile, I'm in charge of a bunch of kids serving the Lord. Yeah. Sexism is real. And I learned as a young, devout Christian. And so that's what we did for So yeah, me and Val went to Williamsburg for Easter. All right. Done with one bullet point. Awesome. That was the intro to my... Oh, great. I'm only an hour in. That was the intro. God. Let's take this shot. You know, this whole Easter thing got me thinking, not just the Easter thing, but me being an altar server got me thinking a lot about me around that time in my life, that age in my life. Grammar school in Flushing, Queens, New York. Catholic school. Looking back at it, I can't believe my mom paid for me to go to like elementary school. Like I think about the fact that like that shit is free for other kids. Hell, dude, if I had a kid right now and you were like, hey, do you want to spend thousands of dollars a year for your kid to go to school? Or there's this free option. Send that kid to the free school. I don't give a fuck. The private school you pay money for could have fucking classes in VR with 3D printers printing out fucking new wombs for them to sleep in during recess, and I would not give a fuck. You go to the free school. Anyways, I was thinking about me growing up in a Catholic school. And I remember thinking, like, I used to think I was a bad kid. Because at the parent teacher like conferences, my teachers would always tell my mom, oh, he talks a lot. He's a disturbance. Yeah, he's a bad kid. He's one of the bad ones. And I never realized that, like, I was in classrooms with like 18 kids, 24 kids in a Catholic school. Me being a bad kid meant I talked. That's it. It wasn't until I joined the Boy Scouts and like started like meeting kids from public school that I would just start seeing the way kids would act, and I was like, the gall, the audacity on this child over here. What is going on? And then I was exposed to public school kids. And bro, coming from a Catholic school kid, let me tell you, public school kids are the scariest thing in the entire fucking world. Coming from a kid that went to Catholic school, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and and the Holy Spirit, amen, for 13 years, there was nothing scarier in my life than a kid that went to public school. Whoa! Holy Lord, in the heavens above me, help me. Public school kids scared the crap out of me, dude. Whenever I thought I was being bad in Catholic school, my mom would threaten me with the notion of going to public school. And you might as well have told me I was going to Rikers. You might as well have told me I was going to Sing Sing. You might as well have told me I was going to The Rock. That I was going all the way to the goddamn, what's that fucking jail in San Francisco? It's not San Andreas, that's the goddamn video game. Some shit. I don't even know. Whatever the movie The Rock is based on, and no, not a movie starring The Rock, I mean the movie starring Nicolas Cage and who's that Irish guy? Scottish guy? I'm not gonna talk till I get it. Sean Connery. Told you wasn't gonna talk till I get it because I knew I was gonna get it because that's how much confidence I had in myself that I was gonna get it. Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery, The Rock. What jail is that? It's not San Andreas. Anyways. Either way. Public school kids might as well have been on death row when I was a child. They scared the crap out of me. You telling me that I could have been a public school kid scared the crap out of me. Oh, really? I need another beer? Alright, I gotta grab another beer. I'll be right back and I'll finish talking about, what are we talking about? Oh, alright. Public school kids and some grammar school kids stories. BRB. Oh, I need beer. Is off, guys. All right, let's see how deep are we in? I could go for another like fucking hour and a half, but I gotta wrap this up soon. We're already like an hour 9 in, hour 10. All right. Cheers, motherfuckers. I said BRB just seconds ago because I had to go to the bathroom again. And I work with people so young that I said BRB and I had to check with them once to see if they knew what BRB meant. Because, figure, we were on AIM and AOL Instant Messenger. These guys never use that shit. So do they know what BRB even means? God, I don't even know. I don't even know. Anyway, so kids in public school scared the crap out of me, dude. Scared the crap out of me. So I used to think I was a bad kid. Then I met bad kids. And I was like, oh, I'm fine. My mom should stop bitching. Because I've met bad kids. When I started like chilling on the block, and I was realizing what chilling on the block meant, I was like, oh, I'm not cut out for this. I can't chill on the block. I'm not real. I learned very quickly. I'm not real. I don't want to fight. For what? I remember I was chilling on the block and a fight broke out, and the people I was hanging out with just started running. And I was like, what's happening? They're like, oh, our boy's in a fight. And I was like, first of all, they definitely didn't say it like that. They're like, someone we know is being assaulted. And I ran with them and I said, oh, okay. Why? Why is he being assaulted? And these gentlemen were like, we don't know why, but he's our boy, so we must join forces. And honestly, I understand the honor in that, but at the moment, being a scared Catholic school kid, I was like, well, what did he do, though? What did he say? This ass whipping that he's apparently getting right now, does he deserve it? Because if he does, I don't know, I can't exactly serve the Lord this Sunday with $1.50 on my face. If you know what I mean, man. I gotta serve the Lord. What am I? I'm the head MC. I'm the #1 MC. Can't be showing up to church all fucked up and shit. You know what I'm trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that I was a pussy. I was always a pussy. I did not want to fight so bad. I didn't want to fight. Public school kids scared the crap out of me. My school was so small, we didn't really have bullies. We had like people that tried to be bullies, but then the bullies, because the school was so small, the bullies had to be friends with us. So it's like, well, you can't really bully us if you want to be our friends. So it was weird. Then like 3 or 4 of us became like the cool friends, and we bullied everyone else. I know, it was really mean. I was cool with everybody, but I was definitely friends with the bullies, and they were definitely mean to my other friends. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was a coward. I've always been a coward. I basically, if anything, this is the podcast where I learn I am a coward. I've been a coward. I've always been a coward. It's just the way it is. I was always the guy that got out of being bullied because I was like just a little too funny. Like I understand when comedians say like, oh, I used comedy to get out of fights, because I definitely did. Dude, if you can make the meanest guy in the room laugh, you're good. Like, you're in. Meanest guy in the room. If there's someone that's shitting on everyone else, and you're the one person in the entire room that says the one sentence that gets that guy to fucking laugh instead of throwing daggers at you, you're in. You're good. And part of me thinks it's because that mean guy, he's probably been being mean to protect himself. And if someone can make that person laugh, I think that person realizes that whoever made him laugh probably has the ability to do more than just that. So let's get him on my side. The other way to look at it is that whoever just made that guy laugh is now the court jester. Either way, dude, I'm just trying to survive. But I definitely think that there have been plenty of times in my life that I have been cool with someone way cooler, way tougher, way meaner, way just more anti-me. And I've been cool with them for no other reason than because I said something that made them laugh. It's, as I pour another shot, it's something that has, it's saved me in the past. As early on as elementary school, I was lucky. I was never bullied in school, but I think it's because I befriended the bullies, because I made the bullies laugh. I saw people get bullied. I wish I did more about people getting bullied. I didn't. I was fucking afraid for myself. High school is terrifying. And I went to one of the most stereotypical high schools in Queens. They had rich people, had poor people, had cool people, had lame people, had like the goth kids, it had the preppy kids, it had the privileged kids, it had the ghetto kids, it had the minorities, it had it had everything, dude. We were as stereotypical as a high school as we could get. I did not stick my neck out for anything in high school. I was a coward. And my comedy helped me out a lot. Even before high school, dude. In elementary school, we had a class of like 25, and I was friends with the only two bullies in the entire fucking class because I didn't want them to bully me. Shit, I remember we were such pussies that one of our, this is gonna sound terrible, I don't know if there's any way to fucking tell this story without sounding terrible, or at least some level of terrible. But I remember growing up, one of it as it turns out, in elementary schools, in grammar schools, whatever you call them, oftentimes if a kid is left back, if a kid fails a grade and has to like repeat the 5th grade, repeat the 6th grade, repeat the 7th grade, that kid that gets left back and has to repeat that grade, doesn't he often become like the bully of the next 5th grade? Like, and I get it, dude. Imagine going through all of 5th grade and then at the end of the year they're like, you gotta do that shit again. You're gonna treat every fucking other kid doing 5th grade for the first time like shit, because you're there sitting there like every science lesson, every history or social studies lesson, every math lesson, you went through all of that, and you're probably sitting there thinking, fuck, if I just paid attention I could be with all my other friends in 6th grade, but instead I'm here in 5th grade again with a bunch of young pieces of shit I've never fucking hung out with a moment in my life. So of course they're gonna treat you like shit. I get it, dude. I remember in 7th grade when I went on to 8th, my best friend failed 7th grade, and I just thought that like him being lazy all year was just like his thing, and that like he'd figure out a way, and that we would both just be in 8th grade together with all of our friends. And 8th grade was the last year before high school, and this dude failed 7th grade. And so all of his friends, including me, went on to 8th grade, and we're applying to high schools, and we're figuring out what's the next step in our life, and this motherfucker has to do 7th grade again. Dude, I've never seen a dude's soul get more crushed than I saw my friend's soul get crushed at 7th grade when he had to repeat 7th grade with a brand new group of people that he's like never given a fuck about before in his life. Meanwhile, all his friends move on an entire year. I get it, dude. Being left back was like the biggest fear of my life ever when I was that young. So when I was being bullied in 5th, 6th, 7th grade by kids that were left back, part of me was like, yo, I kind of get it. You hate us. You hate us immediately. Like immediately you have to hate us. Here's the thing though. There was this one kid that got left back that was an asshole, just like every other kid that got left back. Except there was one thing that was very different about this kid. And that's the fact that this kid was technically, all right, let me take a shot. I'm sorry, I gotta take a shot. Oh man. All right. I don't even know if this story is okay to tell. All right. In like 7th, 8th grade? Probably 8th grade. Technically one of the bullies, although I was kind of cool with them because I befriended the enemies. But one of these bullies that was left back was technically handicapped. He was technically physically handicapped. How do I continue this story? He mentally all there. Not there. It was not a mental handicap in any way. In fact, he was mentally sharper than perhaps most of us. And he was probably as smart as any of us, but that's not how he decided to show it. He was like the meanest person in the grade. He was so mean. It was so mean. Looking back at it, if I'm putting on my Freudian cap, if I'm being a little psychological about this, I'm guessing perhaps it was preemptive. Perhaps he was being mean because he didn't want anyone to shit on him. Perhaps he didn't want to be the butt of any joke, so he made everyone else the butt of every joke. But he was the only physically handicapped kid in our class. So like none of us really made fun of him except for like his closest friends. And I wasn't even one of them. I was just someone that he accepted into his like circle of friends. But I swear to God, I never made fun of this kid. He had this thing where like he always smelled. And I remember like thinking, am I wrong for assuming that that like he just can't shower like as easily? But then I thought to myself, no, his parents would make him shower, right? Or is he just as mean to his parents as he is to us and just yells at his parents like, I'm not gonna shower. Just comes into school smelling like piss. There's even rumors that he wore a diaper. I don't know if that's true. I'm not gonna fucking delve into that. But he was so mean. He was so mean. He once told me that my friends were making fun of me at my last name because my last name was Hernandez. And I was like, how do you make fun of Hernandez? They're like, well, it has her in it, right? And I went up to my friends and I was like, that's really lame. And they're like, yeah, that is. Who was saying that? And I was like, you guys are. And they're like, no, we never said that. And I was like, well, that's not what Mr. X, I was about to say his name. That's not what Mr. X said. And they're like, dude, that guy smells like 2-day-old urine. You really believe what he's saying? So he had like this bow-legged thing going on. Like he had to walk like really all messed up, like bow-legged. That was his physical handicap. he in gym class he never had to run with us, and unfortunately for him, his legs couldn't develop the normal muscle that a regular kid's legs could. His calves are always really skinny. It's weird. He was a fat kid up top, but when you looked at his calves, they were just skinny, not normally skinny. The only time we would see his calves and his shins was during gym class, and that's when we knew all right, this is why he walks that way. This is where his handicap comes from, and we kind of just let it go. I swear to God, if this dude had normal legs and shit on us the amount that he shit on us, we would have fucking unload on him. But because he was technically handicapped, we took it. We let him be the handicapped kid was the meanest kid in our class, dude. How does that happen? But he was. We let him get away with it. He had two friends that he was really cool with, where they would watch wrestling together, and this is back when wrestling was Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock and The Undertaker and Mankind, and it was just DX and all, and NWO and all this shit, right? Everyone was doing crotch chops and DX and middle fingers and everything. And I remember as a kid, all the boys would be playing just wrestling outside. We would just play wrestle each other. 100% we're not allowed to, but we would be doing it. Fuck it. And if someone came up to another kid, if a dude came up to another kid and just fucking flipped him off, kicked him in the stomach, and turned around to do the Stone Cold Stunner, 9 times out of 10, this is how crazy wrestling was back in the day. 9 times out of 10, you walk up to someone, you flip them off, kick him in the stomach, and turn around and fucking do the stunner. That kid is dropping down on his knees and selling that stunner like he's The Rock at WrestleMania 17. Flip-flopping around like a fish just brought onto the boat. And here's the thing, Danny is big of an asshole as he... Oh, shit, I just said his name. Well, I didn't say his last name, so fuck it. This fucking bully... Whatever. Danny. This fucking bully, Danny... He was down with the wrestling shit. And I remember one time... We're at the very end of recess. Recess is over, in fact. The bell's ringing. And that bell means you line up in size order in your designated area, and you wait for your teacher to come and pick you up. And in that year, on that day, we were so unlucky that we were being picked up by the meanest teacher in the entire school. She's so mean. She ended up becoming the principal years later, and the entire school was fucking terrified of her, man. She was the meanest teacher around. And I'm talking about so mean. If I saw her today, I would be terrified, man. And that's who was picking us up from recess. And clank, the bell rings. We all line up perfectly, bro. Size order, perfectly fucking behaved 8th grade children. And suddenly my friend, let's call him Carlos, turns to the handicapped bully Danny. And he turns right at Danny. He flips him off. Double birds. Fuck you. Pretends to kick him right in the stomach. Bang! Turns around and grabs his head for the classic Stone Cold Stunner. Bang! And he drops down to the floor with handicapped Danny and gives him the Stone Cold Stunner. And Carlos, delivering the stunner, gets up, flips him off, and gets right back online. Danny, handicapped Danny, being the trooper that he is, sells that stunner like The Rock on WrestleMania 17. He starts flip-flopping around with his fucking handicapped legs, looking like a beached trout on a fishing boat, flip-flopping around. And the entire classroom is standing in line. And Danny can't get to his feet fast enough. He can't get to his handicapped feet fast enough. And our teacher, Mrs. Ragone, gets to our line and sees 29 of her 30 students perfectly lined up. And she sees one student flip-flopping around on the floor. And she yells, "Danny! Get up! Get up!" Sounded like fucking Vince McMahon. And he gets up, shitting himself, stands right in line. And she goes, "Danny, what are you doing?" And remember, my friend Carlos, he had just given Danny the Stone Cold Stunner. Danny was just selling it. Danny was just acting like The Rock taking the stunner. You know, what can you ask? Mrs. Ragone comes up, yells at Danny, "Get up! What are you doing?" Danny stands up on his two legs, proud as fuck. He looks right at Mrs. Ragone and says, "I'm sorry, Mrs. Ragone, but Carlos stunned me." And he just walks right back in line. And Mrs. Ragone looks at Danny and is like, "Carlos stunned you?" And Danny's like, "Yes, Mrs. Ragone, Carlos stunned me." And I, being one of the shorter people in class, therefore having to be at the head of the line, could see the wheels turning inside of Mrs. Ragone's head. She's there wondering, why, how, what in the world is this man talking about? And she goes, "Danny, just because this man stuns you doesn't mean you should be flopping around on the floor. What is wrong with you? Haven't you ever been stunned before?" Haven't you ever been... Dude, I'm sorry, man, but to see handicapped Danny flip-flopping around, and then... You want to know what I learned? Is Danny in that moment, he told the truth. But to this day, I wonder if Danny... Because here's the thing. The way I look at this story is that Danny did not throw Carlos under the bus. Is that Danny did not snitch. And that Danny's the only person that got in trouble that day. Because he was flip-flopping around on the ground. Carlos, who gave him the two middle fingers, kicked him in the stomach, and then gave him the Stone Cold Stunner, he did not get in trouble that day at all because the teacher didn't see any of that. Teacher came over, saw Danny flip-flopping around the ground, and Danny knew at that moment, like, I'm definitely in trouble. But does anyone else have to be? That's the way I looked at it. And he didn't snitch. He didn't snitch on his boy. Look, he was being stupid, right? He was being dumb. He was having fun in a stupid, dumb way. So was his friend. Just one of them got caught. That's it. He didn't snitch. He didn't throw his boy under the bus. To this day, I don't know if him saying, "Oh, Carlos stunned me," was him trying to get out of being in trouble or just trying to be funny while getting in trouble. I want to believe the latter. I want to believe that this Danny, that obviously had a tough life, found the fucking humor in this moment. Because I swear to God, it's lived with me. Dude, I was, 12 years old when this happened? I'm the youngest 35-year-old in the world now. It's 20 years that I remember this moment. I don't know. I bet you if I walk into Danny right now and I tell him this moment that he has no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. In fact, Carlos once walked into my bar about 10 years ago and I brought this moment up and he himself had no idea what I was talking about. So I guarantee you this is just one of those moments that means more to me than anybody else. But Danny getting stunned and the teacher wondering why the fuck this handicapped kid is just flopping around on the floor while she just has to bring everyone back in. I love it. I love it. As always, I look at my list of things to talk about and I realized I had about 17 more bullet points to talk about, and I went through about 2 of them. So, my bad, guys. Maybe one of these days I'll have an actual, a planned out episode. But I'm sorry and I'm not sorry. These are so easy. Just come in, bang these out, get the fuck out. Sorry, guys. Actually, truth be told, I've actually got a couple of people reaching out to me wanting to be on the show, which is pretty awesome. I don't think they realize that this show will do nothing for their careers, but either way. Stay tuned for some guests coming at you real soon. I'm going to figure that out real quick. Until then, I will be back here every freaking week talking about more shit. You know what's funny is that once I realized that I didn't want to talk about stuff I had to do research for, and just talk about shit that happens to me or things that I remember. This show became a lot easier. This is the first week where I really wasn't writing anything down throughout the week. And I was like, oh no. What am I going to talk about? And I was like, well, I just don't have to talk about current shit. And I was like, I was fucked up while I was a Catholic school altar server. Let's talk about that since it was Easter. I'm glad you guys stuck around for that. Either way, look, there's a couple of things you guys have asked for. I promise you I will come back with more bar stories. There's a part of me, I bartend 4 to 5 days a week. Something about me doesn't want to have to talk about bartending all the time if I don't have to. You know, it was nice for me to get some bartending shit off of my chest. But you know what? I honestly like this podcast is fun for me every week. It's fun for me. And if I had to talk about bartending every week, this podcast might not be as fun for me as it is right now. So just give me a little bit of freedom to talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. And I promise you we will get back to bartending bullshit sooner rather than later. Until then, be sure to rate and review this show on Apple Podcasts. Follow me at I'm Will Bryant on all platforms. That's Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, and Twitch. 3 words at I'm Will Bryant. Last name Bryant like Kobe. Thank you for following me and listening to me. This has been Big Kid with Will Bryant, the show that I guess makes you feel like a big kid again. Maybe it makes you feel like a Catholic kid again. Either way, I'm your host. I'm Will Bryant. And until next time, peace.